Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's so wonderful to see so many of you here at Fisher & Paykel Experience Centre. I'm very excited to welcome the founder of the local project, Aidan Anderson.
Our global series called Design for a Changing World. It started in Sydney, Melbourne, we went to LA, we went to Auckland, we've been to New York as well. In the very first question, I'm really curious, and maybe starting with you, Mr. Joe Morris, on your definition of luxury, because like I said, I think it's going to be different for everyone here.
In many respects, it's a kind of a really divisive word. It's definitely something more to do with a reconnection with things which are important.
Maybe jumping over to Joe leGleud. I mean, we spoke briefly about this yesterday and today as well, but what is your definition of luxury?
Well, I suppose in terms of fulfilling interior design projects, you know, our clients are looking for something that feels luxurious to them. And for me, that feels like it's time, and it takes time for us to kind of get to know the client, and it isn't just about their immediate preferences in terms of their interior, but it's getting to know them on a much deeper level.
Luxury is being around things or places or people that you love. Ultimately, it's a feeling, and it's a feeling of love, that you see the care and you see the beauty in that thing.
Yeah, brilliant. Well said. And Joe leGleud, going back to, I guess, your definition of it, what do people genuinely need from their environments today in terms of a lens of well-being?
I mean, for me, well-being is kind of feeling comfortable in your space and having what you need around you. So I always think it's a really early question to ask, like, who cooks in this space, who looks after the children, who needs to feel comfortable, and what do they need in order to do that.
And just speaking of well-being, and Alison, you often speak about architecture as enriching culture and daily life. How do you define well-being at the scale of a neighbourhood or a city?
Some people would think well-being is a luxury, right? To actually feel safe and secure and comfortable. You know, that's well-being. And for some people, they don't have access to that. So you can gain a sense of well-being from the design of a street, from a neighborhood, from buildings and landscapes that form your environment. You know, society itself, I think, can generate a sense of well-being, or the opposite. And yeah, I can go on.
It's also taking the time to look up and kind of acknowledge it in your daily life as well. I think that you sort of, especially living in a city, you get really busy, and actually just to take a breath and just take it all in, is that also a luxury?
Exactly, and sort of feeling the care. You can see that architect really cared about what they were doing, and I think everybody can see and feel that.
And has that changed for you? I mean, from where you grew up to living in London now, has that sense of well-being evolved and adapted over time and as per different locations, or has that always been your view?
You know, living in the UK and living in Europe, you sense the care and craft and the quality of materials and the design effort that went into the built environment. It's something that, it's probably one of the main reasons I relocated.
And Joe Morris, you describe architecture as part of a wider ecology, social, environmental and cultural. Where do you see the strongest link between, I guess, your version of luxury and responsibility today?
The problem that I see is this sort of strange contradiction that I think we all live in, which is this sort of desire to be good, but actually not really doing it, and sort of pinpointing things which we sort of pick out as being the way in which we might solve something, but actually doing something to counter it almost. It's up to every single one of us to sort of take a look in the mirror and try and work out, and again, I'm not saying this in a pithy, patronising way at all, but it's my own neurosis about how do you look in the mirror and say, right, I'm going to make a change today and continue to make the change. You step through that sort of threshold. I think everybody has to do it. And imagine a place where genuine nature and cities sort of entwine with one another, that would be luxurious in my mind. If there's a sense of luxury, it's a sort of that absolute engaged moment where you step out your front door and you're in the midst of something spectacular.
What are some of the changes that you'd recommend or you've tried to apply yourself?
Slow architecture, slow thinking, slow design, slow travel, slow consumption, slow the whole thing down. The whole idea of the 15-minute city is a really big thing. Can we make it a 5-minute city even?
Yeah.
How do you bring cultural nuance into a project without it feeling forced or overly thematic?
Well, I think it goes back to like really getting to know the client initially and in a more nuanced way. These things are all considered as we pass through the various different design stages. So that then at the end, you end up with something that feels really personal to them and their house and their situation at that time.
And Alison, your work spans obviously residential, cultural and urban projects. How does the idea of luxury shift for you across these different scales?
One mantra I've always used is that when I design a home for somebody, it should make the owner feel like they're on holiday every day. And I think that's possible to do. It's about proportions, it's about light, it's about experience of, approaching your home. I think memory has a huge role to play in well-being. We, I think as humans, innately want to understand the meanings of things, and the meaning of things comes from the memory of that object, that material, that place, that brick, whatever it is. We gain a sense of purpose and enrichment of life through understanding those stories, and that has to do with memories.
And is that sense of like longevity and storytelling and memories, is that ever driven by the clients, whether they're developers or homeowners, or is that something that you guys push on to your clients?
We do a lot of research. We try to understand our client, understand the place, delve into, hidden stories. The story that people love as well is sort of what inspired that, or what led you to that decision or that choice. And it can be something from your past, something from your childhood, something from your research.
Alison, in a global design landscape that moves incredibly quickly, how do you protect nuance, context and cultural depth in your work?
I don't know. I guess it's about what you care about as an architect. Like if you really care about making a project that resonates with local people, that is sustainable, it works with local materials, you try to be low carbon, you try to support local makers, local suppliers.
If you imagine someone living in one of your projects and interiors 30 years from now, what do you hope they feel and which elements do you hope they still hold emotional weight?
Kind of becomes a canvas for their journey through life, really, rather than this is what we installed 30 years ago, what does it look like now? Is actually what we did 30 years ago now has this lovely long journey into, how they want to live in it now. It feels like it has integrity in the decisions that you make initially. That's always going to resonate for as long as they live there.
When you think about the future of design, what do you hope becomes more valued, not by industry, but by people who live with and experience your work every day?
A good design is good design, and if it's functioning well in the first place, that's always going to make you feel at home, or like you can exist in peace.